Hello, welcome to episode 260 of the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and today is the 9th of November. Almost said October then. How crazy is it? It's nearly December. So today I have some knitting, I have some sewing, which is some hand sewing, a question for the Ask Me Anything section, some information on what's occurring, which includes some of my shop update information as well, and then a little appearance from Jensen at the end of the podcast. Now onto the knitting section, and I've got an appearance from Liz showing her progress on her Geogradient MKAL shawl, and I'll show mine as well. So I'm going to pop that footage here because I took it earlier today. So Liz is back to show us how she's got on with her Geogradient mystery knit along. So if you want to skip along to where you won't get any spoilers, if you're still sort of following along with it, I'll put a timestamp on the screen, but I think most people have seen it now. So here we go. How have you been getting on, Liz?
Very well.
So we've got, it's a bit big for the camera now, so we've got both sides. We've done clue 3. These sections here, either side are clue 3. I'll show you up close. Isn't that gorgeous? I think this section looks absolutely beautiful, but I thought it was a bit of a pain in the bottom to knit.
Took a long while. Yes, that was the slip stitch at the back.
Yeah.
I kept doing it wrong. I did it on the front and had to take it back, but that worked out in the end. Thank goodness.
I think when you were doing it on the front, it's not too bad, but it's just when you're doing the slip stitch that's actually on the front, when you're working on the back of the work, that's a pain.
Yeah.
But we've done it now. Phew.
Yeah, we've done it. Casting on for the last bit.
Yeah, so Liz is picking up round the bottom, starting on that side.
Yeah.
So this is the Barbie girl yarn set that I dyed up for the MKAL, because Liz likes pink, so I thought Liz can do the pink one. And it goes lovely with the top, so that's good. So if you haven't seen when we've shown it before, this section in the middle here is the section 1 or clue 1. It's just like all squares. Section 2 was these eyelets and reverse garter, not reverse garter stitch, reverse stocking stitch, and those were on either side, so it made it a bit of like a lozenge shape with this straight edge. And then these corner sort of bits here are the clue 3. Yeah, they're the pain ones. Yeah. They do look lovely, but they do take a long time. It just, I think
that seems quite tight and matty feeling, you know.
I think when they're blocked out, it'll pull out a bit, because it's got merino in it. They do tend to stretch out a bit more, won't it?
Nice.
I was a bit worried that it was going to be a bit small, but now I think when you've got these sections off the needles and then you're holding it up like this, it does look quite big.
It's got a nice frill on the inside.
Yeah. So Liz has left all the ends for me to sew in, although you did start doing the weaving steeving, didn't you? And I'll just show you up close what that looks like.
I like that.
No, it's a little bit, I think you can see it a little bit too much. I'm not sure if we're focused or not. That's it. You can see here,
that just
it's got a bit of a bumpy bit.
Big.
Yeah. So
you can pull them out.
I can probably pull them out, and if not, I can just weave in the rest of them like a normal duplicate stitch.
And don't show that side.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, you wouldn't ever really look at it when you've done it, but I feel like it's a slightly like neater finish anyway. And also, if you've got a bit of a loose bit on that bit of yarn that you've sewn in and you've done it as you've gone, then that you end up with that loose bit staying, so you can tug it a little bit when you're going to sew the ends in. But there we are. That is
I'm looking forward to how many stitches?
At one point there's nearly 1,000 on clue 4. I shall show you mine in a minute. But I love how these colours work together. I did them myself. It's like floating my own boat.
Yeah, it's true.
That's not the right saying, is it?
Yeah.
It's like,
I can't think.
Oh dear.
Bragging.
That's the one, yeah. No. But I think that'll look nice.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So
keep me warm.
Yeah, you can. I said you could have it if you're knitting it, Liz.
I like pink.
So I'll show you mine now. You'll have to help me hold this up as well, Liz. So mine is in the It's Only Natural colour set. I think you can tell mine is a little bit smaller because of my tension.
Yeah.
Because I'm a slightly tighter knitter. Again, clue 1, clue 2, clue 3, and I have started clue 4 on mine, which is starting to curl up a little bit.
Lovely.
So I've picked up stitches all the way around the bottom of the wrap. It did seem like there was going to be loads of stitches, and well, there is, to be honest. There was, I think it was 495 to start with.
Yeah.
Something like that.
499 you ended up with, I think.
Yeah. And then you do a few rows of sort of normal stockinette, and then you do this dip stitch, which is this bit here.
Lovely.
On this row, which I love the look of. And actually, I really enjoyed knitting that, even though it was on like nearly 1,000 stitches when you've actually got to that row. So when you get to the row where you're doing the dip into the lower rows, you're creating a new stitch and then knitting one, so you're doubling your stitches, so there's nearly 1,000 stitches on your needles. But then on the next row you do purl 2 together, but it's through the back loop. But actually, once I got going with the purl through the back loop, it wasn't too bad.
Oh, it's purl through the back loop, is it?
Yeah, purl through the back loop to keep it together. So I thought, oh no, but actually it wasn't too bad. You can see that I've only done one row of the proper dip stitches. You can see I've only done one row of the proper dip stitches, but this bit here that's stockinette, I'll be dip stitching into this layer as well with the next colour, so that'll be green into this stockinette bit. So there'll be like these little triangle shapes all the way across.
Oh, that's lovely. His video went on a bit, didn't it?
Oh, it was a long video.
I thought,
I didn't listen to the whole video, I just watched the bit that I needed to. I might just watch the next bit for the dip stitch on the sort of next row of dip stitches, just to make sure that I'm doing it right. But I don't tend to watch the whole video, I just sort of pick out the bits that I need. He does do timestamps in the bottom though, so you can just get to the bit.
Do I understand what you mean? I will have a look.
Well, it might help. A lot of people are probably thinking the same thing.
I don't know.
So in the notes below the video, in the description bar, there's like numbers where the time is, where it's marked where that particular section is. So I think it's in red on the timestamp, and that's what a timestamp is. And you can click on it and it will take you to that time on the video, so you don't have to listen to it all the way through. If you don't, a lot of people, well, it's good. A lot of people say to me, how do you get to the description bar? It depends on what device you've got. If sometimes there's 3 little dots on the bottom right of your screen that you can click, and then the description bar will expand and you can read all that text. If you're watching it on a TV, it might be more difficult, so I advise you to do it on like a tablet or a computer rather than doing it on the TV. I don't really know how to do it on the TV because I don't normally watch, well, I don't play with the description bars on our TV, so
that's good.
But that's
I'll have a look then.
Yeah. Saves you watching the whole video.
Oh god.
But I do love these last 2 sections. And to be honest, I think my favourite for just the way it looks is this section here, section 2, just the simple eyelets and reverse garter. But I am quite pleased with how that's come out. I think as well, I was a bit like, oh, I don't know whether I'll love wearing it. I don't know whether it's going to be something that I'll sort of reach for. But I felt the same way when I was knitting this one, and this was a mystery one. And when I was knitting, I was thinking, oh my gosh, there's so many different patterns. It's a bit much. But then, because it's the colours I liked, you tend to, you know, as long as it sort of blends, I think when you got it around your neck, I actually like it in the end. So as long as you pick the colours you like, I think you're all right. Good. So it's a good job I didn't get you to knit purple, Liz, because you hate purple, don't you?
Yes. No, I'm not keen on green either, I'm sorry.
Oh, don't you? I'll make sure I don't get you to knit green things.
I will do it,
But there we are, that's our Geogradients.
Very good.
Do you want to hold them up in the picture? We can do a bit of a screenshot.
Comparison.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Which way up is it? That's the other way up. Silly me. There you go.
There we are. Ta-da!
Twins. Pink.
Yeah. I wonder if we can see it. There's a difference in the size. No, it actually doesn't look that much different, to be honest.
No.
But
that's good.
Thank you very much, Liz, for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm hoping that the next video we'll do, we might have a finish. But next week I'm not going to do a podcast. I'm going to do like a vlog of what I'm going to make. So I'm going to make lots of things on that day, hopefully. So it'll be 2 weeks. So
if I don't get it done, will you sack me?
Yes.
No, that's right.
We can, I'm going to sew your ends in and do your tassels if you want it. You'll have to have a look what type of tassels you want, or if any. You don't have to have tassels.
You can have tassels.
I'm going to have I didn't do it on this one, but I think...
That's just, they do different colour yarn together, don't they, for the tassels he did, didn't he?
Stephen did a little bit of... a lot of all the colours in each tassel and did small ones. Yeah. But you'll have to have a look on Instagram because there's loads of different ideas to do the tassels. Well, you can have pom-poms if you like.
Great. Anyway.
There we go. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye. So now I'm going to show some samples of the nest box shawl. This is a shawl that's designed for this year's Advent kits. So everybody who's purchased an Advent, and there are a few Advents left in my shop, so I'll leave a link to that in the description bar down below, but this pattern is included. This pattern I'm actually going to add instructions to do a blanket version later on in the year, but initially it'll just be a shawl pattern to start with. I've just got to make the final tweaks to the other shapes that are going to fit into the blanket. You'll understand what I mean when you see this actual shawl. So there's two versions of the shawl, one that's specifically written for the Advent and one that's got more shapes in it and it makes it a slightly larger shawl to make it a bit more cosy. So if you don't want to see the new nest box shawl pattern, pop a timestamp on the screen now so you can skip to the next section. So this first version is the DK version, which is the 30 diamond version, which looks like this. Ta-da! So it is basically like building blocks, but you can actually assemble this in separate pieces. So you knit each piece separate and then you can sew them or crochet them together afterwards. And this is the thicker DK version, and I just wanted to make something really lovely and cozy. I'll take this shawl off. Oh. This is my Shawlography by Stephen West, by the way, that I've got from a couple of years ago of the mystery knit from the mystery knit alongs. But this, actually I've got it the wrong way around, although it is pretty much double-sided anyway. This one is the new design. So I'd probably wear it like this, so you can see all the blocks at the front. You can actually see that you can you could design this so if you put colours to make it a star on the front, if you did those all in the same colour or alternating colours, that would highlight a star shape as well. But this one I've done in the colours to sort of show the 3D building blocks there. So you can either wear it like this or you can wear it over your shoulders. And I think if you have it over your shoulders, you'll be able to see those building blocks really well. So that is really nice and long over your back. And you'd have these long pieces at the sides, which are also building blocks as well. But you can have those sort of swung over like so. So this one has got some extra blocks in, so there are 30 diamonds in this particular version. So this one's got extra blocks compared to the one that's for 24 days. I've got an extra block here and one at the bottom. I shall show you the 24 block one in a moment. But this one, really, you can see the sort of 3D nature of the design. It's very, very easy. You end up making each of these diamonds separately with an I-cord edge. There's some simple increases and decreases, and there's a couple of techniques that I've incorporated to make sort of life easier. When you're doing your I-cord, you're actually knitting the stitches onto the side at the same time rather than picking those up afterwards. And I'm going to do some tutorial videos so that you have a hand hold all the way along there. But if you can see, if you look at those diamonds here, that could make a star centre point if you wanted to, as well as the actual blocks. So that is the 30 block one. Now my 24 block version, which is designed specifically to do an advent, to use for an advent calendar, I've done them in the colours from my advent for this year. So I'm going to make the screen black and white so you can't see the colours. This one has got the 24 blocks, so there's a slightly different shape. But it looks like this. So you have your blocks next to each other. There we go. So if I stand up and show that what it looks like on, there's each of the sets, each of the blocks is made up of a group of colours that's from the advent, but obviously you can't see because it is in black and white for the camera. You could wear it a bit more like a scarf, like this, so you've got all your colours showing. This is in a fingering weight yarn, so it's a little bit more lightweight and a bit sort of more floppy, but you still get that the 3D blocks there on show with them hanging down the front there. So you could wear it like that, or as more of a shawl shape at the back, but because these have got less blocks, anyway, you just have the two as the focal point at the back there. So hopefully you can see that, because I've no idea what you can see when I'm facing the back, and I probably put the pieces over my shoulders as well, like that, to keep you nice and cozy. So this is my new design, and like I said, I have been working on some further instructions that will be available later in the year to make this into a blanket as well, because I think it would be so lovely and cozy. So this, I think the DK one better illustrates what it might look like as a blanket, because you have more blocks sort of next to each other. So you do have the DK and the fingering weight instructions, and the instructions for the two different shapes of shawl. Hopefully you'll enjoy knitting along with those in Advent. I am going to knit some diamonds over Vlogmas and make a nice cozy blanket version, maybe in DK, because it's nice and thick and squishy. You could also actually, if you've got a lot of fingering weight yarn, you could hold them double with a sort of undyed or one colour to make them sort of more consistent in an overall look for a blanket, instead of using DK if you've got lots of fingering weight yarn. So there we go, that is my nest box shawl. The colours for this one, actually, I'm going to release this week as new colourways for the shop. So these three colours I've chosen are from the new sets. We've got Night Shift, which is this gorgeous blue. That's blown out. We've got Night Shift, which is this gorgeous blue. It's like a deep shade of tealy royal blue. It's a bit of a mixture between the two. I've then got this one here, which is Higher Love, and this one I'm just going to call Pink, after the Aerosmith song. So the Night Shift is by the Commodores song, the purple Higher Love is by Steve Winwood, and Pink is from the Aerosmith song. So those are going to be the colours that are going to go in the shop this week. So they'll be available on multiple different bases, but that's my new yarn set. I'll give you a quick peek of what they're going to look like. So these are the yarns that I'm putting together as sort of winter collection for this year. Superstition, the Stevie Wonder song. We've got Rain. Actually, this one is an existing colourway, but I thought it went really well with the others. We have got this purple one, the purple one, which is Higher Love, and inspired by the song by Steve Winwood. We've got Pink, that's inspired by the song by Aerosmith, and Night Shift by the Commodores. So those are designed to all go lovely together. I wanted to dye some tonals up so they'd be ideal for garments. So I wanted to design a set of colours that could be interchangeably used together. And I've got some garments that I'd like to knit in some of these colours. I think my next one is this blue, because this blue is absolutely gorgeous. But there we go. Those will be in the shop this Friday at 7 PM GMT. So I've got some sewing to show you next. I have been busy trying to fix Adam's jeans. Now, I started a pair of these before, but Adam had a pair of jeans which he didn't have that long, and he's already worn holes in the knee, so it only just started to split. And I followed the instructions in this Sashiko Mending Matters book. I will leave a link to this in the description bar down below, but it's by Katrina Bodabar, I think that's how you say it, but I'll leave a link for it in the description bar down below. I think I got this from Amazon, I think. So I followed the instructions in that to mend this pair of jeans. So what I did is I had a patch that is actually a big square under there to make it as stable as possible. I think it said that you needed to have it at least an inch in either direction of where there's damage. I've cut away any of the damaged fabric with it's gone really thin, so actually it was only a little slither that had split. It had only just split, and I thought, well, I'll get them mended so that it doesn't get any worse. So I put a denim patch on the inside, and I used strips of the heat and bond to then iron it to the inside of the jeans so that I could then stitch it down. If you look really closely, I've just done some running stitch in the Sashiko style, and I've done some whip stitches around the edge of the fabric here onto the fabric inside to stabilize it a bit. I'll show you what the inside looks like. I have done another pair since this. On the second pair I did overlock the denim on the inside so that it wouldn't fray, but it hasn't gone too bad, and you can see the Sashiko stitches on there as well. These have been worn and washed, so it seems to be standing up to the test of Adam crawling around on the floor after Jensen. So I did that leg, and this leg actually I could feel the fabric had gone thinner, so I just did another piece of denim on the inside of that and stitched it over the top to stabilize it before it started to split. So those pair, he has worn it and I have washed them to test it out, and it seems to be going okay. So I will try and get Adam to model those at the end of the video so you can see what the actual what it looks like when it's actually on with those stitches on them. But I think the Sashiko stitching looks really cool, and you can see on the front of these jeans you can do it with quite a bright white thread as well, but I've chosen to do it in a bit more muted style because I don't think Adam would really be into the white against the denim. I probably would do it myself though. So I've been using like a grey pearl cotton or pearl cotton, I think that's how you pronounce it, where it's like nice and twisted, so it's nice and strong. In the instructions in the book it says you can use a variety of different threads, but pearl cotton was one of those ones that were actually supposed to be the most stable, so that's what I used. I had started fixing another pair of jeans ages ago, which I'd done that on, but it was a pair that I'd actually started to do before I'd read a little bit more into doing Sashiko. So what I've done actually is I only had put a little tiny patch behind that and stitched over it, but I have actually ironed on a bigger patch using heat and bond onto the inside of there, and I've actually overlocked the fabric and ironed that on, and I'm going to do some more stitching around the outside to stabilise it a bit more. For this one I didn't actually trim away where it had split very much, obviously because I did this before I read the instructions in the book, but I'm just going to see how it goes. I've started doing the second knee. These jeans are pretty damaged. They had a big split across there which had also gone to the bottom. I've trimmed away the damaged fabric and I put a patch on the inside. Now I had already adhered a small T patch behind there before I read the instructions in the book, making sure that you've got an inch either side of wherever it's damaged. So I decided to put another patch on inside, which is square, which covered sort of down to there and up to here, and I've ironed that on with the heat and bond on the inside as well. And then I've drawn some lines that with heat erasable, the clover pen that I've got, so I can follow doing the stitches. If you look really closely you can see the stitches on the ones that I've actually completed, and then I still have got to stitch up here to attach the patch. And I was thinking of doing some lines down here a little bit as well, just to make it look nice really, but I thought it looked really cool with the T there, even though it's obviously quite a damaged pair of jeans. But those that's how far I've got with this one. I have got some patches made up so I can show you actually. It's because there's more holes on these jeans. These are ridiculous, but Adam really liked them and I really liked them as well, so I thought I'd try and fix them. There's a hole here goodness knows how these holes have got into these trousers, and there's a hole here as well, so I've made some smaller patches to fix those. So you can see that I've got a piece of denim, and I've actually took the paper off, but this has got heat and bond around the outside because I didn't want to have heat and bond where there's actually a hole so it wouldn't show through to the other side. And then I've overlocked these as well. These patches, I actually put the heat and bond on, took the paper off, and then I overlocked around the edge, which I probably, it'd have been better if I'd have overlocked them and then put the heat and bond, because one, the heat and bond would be right to the edge of the fabric to hold it down better, and two, because this heat and bond, obviously it's not sticky because it hasn't been ironed onto any other surface, it's just stuck to the actual denim. It was a bit sort of sticky on the machine foot, so best to overlock the fabric and then put the heat and bond on. That's what I do. So I've got several patches, a couple of patches for the pocket, and then I've got these huge patches because there's quite a lot of damage on the bottom of the leg as well. So I'm practically patching up every little bit of these jeans. There's this damage done to the bottoms as well. So in the book it gives instructions of how to fix the back of your jeans going like this, although they patched it up way before it got this bad. But I am having fun, and it is a shame to waste these jeans, and I do think it looks quite cool with the Sashiko stitching on them. So I've got another couple of pairs of Adam's jeans that I've put away to fix like this, and it is a shame to throw a pair of all that material away if I can possibly repair it. So I am having fun doing some denim repair. So I will keep you updated on the progress that I'm making on fixing Adam's jeans, and hopefully I can get him to at least model the pair that I've completely fixed at the end of this podcast. See what and get his review on what it actually looks like. So I've got a question for the Ask Me Anything thread now. So normally you can come over to the Ravelry group to the Ask Me Anything thread, but you can also email me, and that's what Gail did on crafthousemagik@gmail.com. I will leave that in the description bar down below if you didn't catch what I just said. So Gail wants to knit a garment. She's never knitted one before, but she didn't want to spend a lot of money on sort of fancy merino or wool yarns to knit a garment when she thinks it might go wrong. But don't worry, actually Gail, don't worry, because you can unravel your knitting, so you wouldn't have to worry. At least with knitting you can actually unravel pieces that you've knitted if you're really not happy with how it went, and use it again. And just put it back into a skein, give it a wash, and then it gets out any kinks. But anyway, I'm going off into a different tangent. So she wanted to try knitting in baby DK, so that'll be like an acrylic yarn to make a jumper. And is there anything to watch out for? So the things that I would watch out for are, perhaps don't go for a pattern that needs to be really aggressively blocked, because blocking, or at least wet blocking, doesn't work very well on acrylic yarn. So you want something that isn't too sort of very open lace that's going to have to be dragged open to get the real nice effect. I think though most things are probably okay. You probably won't get the same effect as using a really nice yarn, but to be honest, you'll be able to chuck it in the washing machine as well, so that won't be something that you need to worry about hand washing. But I think actually if you choose a pattern that's relatively simple, it'll probably come out just as nicely, and you can have something that you can wear and chuck it in the wash, as long as you like the yarn that you're using before you start knitting it, and the colour and everything. I'm sure you'll end up with something that you'll be quite pleased with at the end, and then at least you'll build up your confidence with garment knitting before you then spend quite a lot of money on a garment, because I think actually quite often garment knitting can cost from sort of £50 to £100 if you're investing in like a merino or other yarn that's sort of a luxury base. The other option is actually you could go for a more traditional woolly wool, which is sort of non-superwash, I think they do tend to come out a little bit cheaper, especially if you go for a fingering weight yarn, because you don't need as many skeins for that. I know for my cardigan that I'm wearing now, this is a sparkle cardigan by Locatelli. There is a lace pattern supposed to be on this, but this version I just did nice and plain because I like the shape of it. I think I only used 230 grams because it's a cropped version as well. So using a fingering weight yarn, I know it'll take longer to knit, but then you don't have to spend so much on so many skeins. And if you knitted it in something like a Jameson & Smith, even though it's a little bit more rustic, that will cost you a lot less than purchasing, say, a merino yarn. So I hope that helps, Gail. And now I'm on to the What's Occurring section. So we have a date sorted for the next Barbara's Day out. That is the 3rd of December at the Terrace Bar of Dunston Hall at 2 o'clock. We thought we'd do a Christmas swap as well. So if you've got 100 grams of a sort of hand-dyed merino type yarn, if you wrap that up, we could have a sort of a lucky dip and pick another yarn out, and you'll end up going home with something new and exciting. I thought you could even use some of your stash, or if you wanted to buy something new. But actually, if you've got something in your stash that you don't really love, come and bring it wrapped up ready for the swap. So a couple of weeks ago I did a few prize draws for the subscriber giveaway winners for a couple of months, and also for some of the knit-alongs or make-alongs. But the October subscriber giveaway winner didn't get back to me. The name I've got is Maria from Essex. So if your name's Maria and you live in Essex, make sure you check your emails and have a look at the junk email, just to make sure that you haven't got an email waiting there from me saying that you've won the subscriber giveaway prize for October. So you've won the mixtape minis for the October Mystery Yarn Club, and also the sock set from the Music from the Movies Action Adventure edition as well. So it's those two yarns that you've won. Make sure you email me back with your full name and postal address. Just remember, if I do email saying you're winning anything, I'll only ask for your full name and postal address, nothing else. So if anybody asks for any more information, it's not me. So we've got a couple of things in the shop this week. I have a few yarn advents left in the shop. So the pattern that I showed earlier in the podcast, that will go with those advents. There are a number of 24-day ones, and I think there might be 2 of the 12-day advents and 1 10-gram 24-day advents, and the rest are all 20-gram 24 days. But there aren't a lot left now, but they're in the shop ready to ship, and I'll get those shipped out as soon as they're purchased. So those are just the last few that I dyed extra in case anything went wrong. The yarn clubs for November, they're in the shop. I have left them extra time really, so those will be left in the shop until Sunday evening, and they will be posted on the 17th of November. So those are the mystery yarn sets. They're the mixtape minis, a set of minis that are designed to go together, and they're all inspired by a mixtape of songs. The sock sets, they're inspired by a song from the movies, the music from the movies, and they'll be action adventure movies for this year. That November yarn is actually designed to go with the December yarn club as well, if you wanted to make a shawl. So those two yarns are designed to go together. You can actually purchase November and December together. If you purchase them both together, then they won't be shipped till the December ones are ready to be shipped. I have put all my yarn and project bags back into the shop because I took them down when I had surgery just for a couple of weeks, just to make sure that I had plenty of rest, not having to lift things. But they're all back in the shop now. I have 5 new colourways going to the shop. I did show these earlier in the podcast, and these are the winter yarn sets, all designed to sort of go together. You could make a sort of blanket with these together, or something like one of the Stephen West mystery knit-alongs. There's 5 here. For the latest Geogradient you only did 4, so you could pick 4 out of those, or something like the Shawlography actually is a 5 skein shawl, so you could do something like with these set as well. Or you could have like a 2 skein shawl. Isn't that gorgeous together? So all of these are designed to go together if you wanting a bit of inspiration of different yarn combinations. So this is my sort of winter collection, and I did go through the names before, but this is inspired by the song by Aerosmith called Pink. This one is inspired by the Superstition song by Stevie Wonder. This one, Night Shift by the Commodores. I've got Higher Love, and that's inspired by the song by Steve Winwood. And then I've got Rain, and that's the Madonna song. This one actually is an existing colourway in the shop, but I thought it went really nicely with the others. So those will be in the shop tomorrow in the shop update at 7 PM GMT on Friday the 10th of November. I have some other things going in the shop as well. I have a lovely new range of tins with different stitch markers in. I will pop some footage here of where I can actually run over the table where you can see them properly. So these are the new range of tins that are going in my shop. There's a range here of like marbled print ones. You can see this is like a purple one, and then there's a little range of stitch markers there. You get 10 in of all the different rainbow colours of these spiral versions. These are metal stitch markers. Those with the marble effect, we'll have those in. The ones with the floral effect have these little hexagon stitch markers, which are really nice. There's 10 of those. And all of the ones that are floral will have the same. So these little tins here will have a darning needle, 6 of the spiral stitch markers, and 6 bulb pins in as well. So there's a little range, and both those rectangular tins will have the same things inside. And then we've got these macarons. These are made of like a plastic material rather than the tins, and I've put some little bulb pins in there. So there's 10 bulb pins in with those as well. So there's a range of different colours. So I've got a new necklace to show you, and this is for keeping stitch markers in. This little acorn, I think it's very, very cute. It's got like an antique copper chain and ring, and then the actual acorn itself is made out of wood, and it unscrews here. And then you have a little pot that you can put little stitch markers in, and it will come with a range of little heart stitch markers and a little pine cone stitch marker as well. Actually, I will be putting a couple of those pine cone stitch markers in there, but this is mine and I'm using it on a project, I think. So they'll have these little gold heart stitch markers with them as well. So those can be tucked away inside your little acorn. Screwed on and then kept safely around your neck. And I have done a nice long chain, but if you did want a shorter chain, I could adjust that for you. Just let me know. But those will be in the shop tomorrow the 10th of November at 7 PM GMT. I've got some new Lantern Moon products. These are some cable needles, which are nice wooden cable needles with like a rib to stop the yarn from slipping off. There's these needles that are made of ebony wood as well, to sew your ends in, and they're good for if you're using thicker yarn. And I've got one of the repair hooks, which is like a little mini crochet hook, so that you can repair your knitting and have that in your notions pouch. I found these gorgeous scissors from the same manufacturer as well. So I have actually got the same sort of design as this, but these are gold and they come with this lovely leather case. They're it's genuine leather as well, this one. So that's a nice little, especially a nice little gift for Christmas. So I've got a whole host of really cute needle stoppers. So these are to protect the points of your needles. I've got a couple of needles here to show you how they work. So they've got holes in the bottom and you can pop those in, and that'll just stop anything from damaging, from getting damaged by your needle or poking into the side of your bag. So these just pop onto the end of your needle like that. They're suitable for all different sizes of needles, and they come in little sets. Most of them I've paired up as 2 of the same, but the Christmas set I thought I'd do a set of 4, so you get 1 each of the Christmas ones. But if you wanted to then have 2 of each, you could just buy 2 sets. So all these will be in the shop update this Friday, the 10th of November at 7 PM GMT. But I love all of these. I can't decide which ones I'm going to use as well. If you want something a bit simpler, you could have these little ball ones. And actually the I've got ones that look like a sort of a planet, which are really cute and cool. And some ones with flowers on as well, all different types. But these bigger ones are a bit of fun, being in little characters. I've even got some little Harry Potter ones. And I love these little macaroon ones, which are so cute. And I've even got some sheep ones as well. So there's all these different types that you can choose from. But they're a great addition for Christmas gifts. I've been using some of these on my Geogradient MKAL shawl. They're really cute. So you've got a big choice, and they'll be listed in the shop at 7 PM GMT on the 10th of November, that's tomorrow. And last of all, I have these little cord stitch holders. So you have 3 little toggles, and they're all in pink. And then these cords. And you have 1 long cord, and this is 1.5 meters, so you can put stitches from garments on the main body. So you can transfer your stitches onto the tube by popping your needle into the end of the flexible tube and then transfer the stitches over. And then once you've got your stitches on, you can pop them through the holes of your toggles. So open it up, put them through, and then let it go, and that is nice and tight and safe to keep your stitches. And then there's 2 smaller pieces of cord, and I've done these in 3 different colours so that you can see which colour cord you're grabbing, so you'll remember that this brighter one is the biggest one, and then the 2 smaller ones are these 2 different colours. And then these ones can be used for sleeves, so you just transfer the stitches onto them in the same way by popping your needle into the end, and you can actually use a variety of different sizes. This is a 5.5mm needle, for example. Then you can transfer your stitches straight on. You might have a bit more difficulty if you've got very blunt wooden needles, but with metal needles they work brilliantly. They sort of stick onto it quite well, unless you really pull it to get them off. And then again, you can pop your cords onto the toggle to keep your stitches onto your sleeve. So there's 3 toggles to go with 2 arm cords and a body cord, and they come in this really cute little tin. Okay.
So that's it for the what's occurring section. So now it's over to you, Jensen.
So Adam has got his jeans on. Here is his patches. I don't think that looks too bad. Are you embarrassed to be seen in them,
No,
Adam?
I like them. They look quite fashionable, if you ask me.
Oh, I think they look okay. And it also makes them survive a bit longer rather than just chucking them out. Jensen is here, look, trying to climb the sofa, aren't you? Behave, you. What's down there?
It's a tray. Should we get a tray out then?
Jensen hasn't got any new knitwear to show you today. He got a lap tray out, and he's got his Batman t-shirt on though. I'm afraid I didn't make that. He has had his hair cut a little bit. He hasn't been able to sit there long enough to have it cut before, so he has just about had a bit of a haircut, but he hasn't had loads off. But there he is. There's no water in there, Jensen. The new one. What about this one here? No? Shall I have that one?
Good boy.
Do you want to say bye-bye to everybody, Jensen? Bye! He's telling Adam to wave as well.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Adam.
Bye.
So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I shall see you in next week's episode. Oh, next week I'll be doing a crafty vlog, so I've got a couple of things planned that I want to make. So I hope you'll join me. Bye!